Have you ever caught yourself wondering, where did my spark go? Maybe the things that used to light you up physically, emotionally, even romantically, just don't feel the same anymore. It's not that you've stopped caring. It's not that you've given up. It's just different, like a quiet shift that crept in over time. Maybe you've noticed you don't feel that same sense of desire you once had, whether that means intimacy, passion, or even simple affection. You might find yourself feeling disconnected from your partner or even from yourself. And in those quiet moments, it's easy to feel a little confused, a little lost, and sometimes even ashamed to talk about it. But let me start by saying this. If you've been feeling a dip in desire after 60, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. What you're experiencing is far more common than most people realize. And yet, we rarely talk about it, especially once we reach a certain age. It's as if desire is something people think we're supposed to grow out of or stop caring about. But the truth is, intimacy, passion, and connection don't expire. They just evolve. And today we're going to talk about why that shift happens and how to gently, confidently, and joyfully begin to reignite it. Now, desire isn't just about the physical. It's deeply emotional. It's rooted in how we feel about our bodies, our lives, and our sense of connection with ourselves and those we care about. And as we move through our 60s, 70s, and beyond, there are so many things that can quietly chip away at that fire. Let's start with one of the biggest and most natural culprits, hormonal changes. For women, menopause brings a cascade of shifts: less estrogen, less natural lubrication, and often a sense of unfamiliarity with your own body. For men, testosterone levels begin to decline gradually, which can impact libido, energy, and overall confidence. These changes aren't signs of failure. They're biology. They're your body, simply adjusting to a new chapter. But here's the thing. Just because these changes are natural doesn't mean they have to rule your life. You're not powerless in this. You don't have to just put up with it. You have the right to feel connected to your body, to your partner, and to the spark that makes life feel full and alive. And desire isn't always about hormones or biology. It's also about how we feel. One of the biggest and often least discussed reasons desire fades after 60 is the quiet erosion of body confidence. We spend years in a culture that tells us youth equals beauty, that energy, skin tone, curves, muscles, whatever it may be, are at their peak when we're young. So when we look in the mirror at 65 and see changes, sagging skin, weight gain, hair loss, it's easy to internalize the idea that we're less attractive, less desirable, less worthy. But the truth? Desire isn't about perfection. It's about presence. Passion is not reserved for the young. It belongs to anyone who's willing to show up, to themselves and to their partner, with honesty, curiosity, and openness. That's why so much of reigniting desire starts within. It starts with reconnecting to yourself, with being gentle and kind to your body instead of criticizing every wrinkle or roll, with touching your own arm and saying, "This is still me, I'm still here, and I still deserve to feel good." When you stop hiding from yourself, your desire starts to come out of hiding too. Let's also talk about another big factor: routine. After years or decades in a relationship, things can start to feel predictable. And while comfort is a beautiful part of a long-term bond, it can also make things feel a little stale if we're not careful. The same evenings, the same conversations, the same everything. And after a while, it's not that we stop wanting, we just stop noticing. Desire thrives on novelty, on play, on spontaneity. That doesn't mean you need to reinvent your relationship overnight. But small shifts matter: a different kind of touch, a new setting, a playful note, or a warm, lingering hug. When we begin to interrupt our patterns, even in tiny ways, it gives desire room to breathe again. And if you're not currently in a relationship, that doesn't mean this conversation doesn't apply to you. In fact, it might matter even more. Because the foundation of desire doesn't come from someone else. It comes from you, from how you nurture yourself, from how you dress, how you move, how you talk to yourself when no one's around. Whether you're single, widowed, divorced, or dating, you still deserve to feel connected to your own spark, to remind yourself that life still holds excitement, beauty, and even mystery if we're willing to look for it. So if you've been feeling like your desire has dimmed or disappeared, I want you to know that it's not gone forever. It may be quiet, it may need time, but it's still in you. And there are gentle, joyful ways to call it back. We've just started to peel back the layers of why desire changes after 60, and there's still more to explore, because desire isn't just physical or emotional. It's also about stress, lifestyle, communication, and how we care for ourselves and our relationships as we age. Sometimes the reason desire feels out of reach has less to do with our bodies and more to do with the weight we're carrying mentally and emotionally. You see, stress is one of the most powerful desire dampeners there is, and it doesn't always show up as anxiety or panic. Sometimes it's just that quiet, ongoing pressure, the bills, the health concerns, the family drama, the appointments, the responsibilities that never seem to end. Even after retirement, life doesn't exactly slow down, it just shifts. And when your mind is constantly preoccupied, your body isn't going to prioritize passion, because desire needs space, it needs calm, it needs moments where your brain isn't scanning the to-do list or worrying about what comes next. That's why creating intentional space for relaxation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Maybe that looks like carving out time each day for a quiet walk, or soaking in a warm bath without rushing, or turning off the news and turning on soft music instead. Whatever helps your mind unwind, even just for a few minutes, can open the door to reconnection. When your nervous system relaxes, your body becomes more open to pleasure, closeness, and yes, desire. And that brings us to another deeply personal yet universal part of the conversation: communication. Especially for those in long-term relationships, it's easy to fall into a rhythm where certain things are just left unsaid. You might think, well, we've been together for decades. They should know how I feel. Or worse, if I bring this up, it'll just make things awkward. But here's the thing. Desire doesn't grow in silence. It grows in honesty. Telling your partner how you're feeling, physically, emotionally, even hormonally, might feel vulnerable. But it also builds trust. It says, I still care. I still want connection. I just need us to talk about what that looks like now. Because the truth is, intimacy after 60 looks different than it did at 30 or 40. But different doesn't mean worse. In fact, many people say that the intimacy they find later in life is deeper, more emotional, and more fulfilling, once they give themselves permission to redefine what it means. You don't have to pretend everything's the same. You can talk about the shifts. Maybe your body needs more time to warm up. Maybe certain types of touch feel better than others. Maybe you miss affection, like hand-holding, cuddling, or even a loving look across the room. These small moments, when talked about openly, can reignite connection in powerful ways. And if you're not currently partnered, communication still matters, because the way you talk to yourself about desire is just as important. Many people internalize the message that after a certain age, they should stop wanting, that it's inappropriate or embarrassing or somehow selfish to still crave closeness or touch. But those messages are based on outdated ideas, not reality. Your needs don't have an expiration date. Your desire for connection, joy, intimacy, those things don't go away just because candles on a cake hit a higher number. They simply ask to be treated with more care, more honesty, and more intention than before. Another aspect to look at is how you care for your physical health on a day-to-day basis. Energy and desire are closely linked. If you've been feeling sluggish, tired, or disconnected from your body, it's not surprising that desire feels distant too. And sometimes it's not even about aging, it's about dehydration, lack of movement, or poor nutrition. It's amazing how even small lifestyle shifts, like drinking more water, going for a short walk, or choosing foods that energize you, can make you feel more present in your body again. When you feel better physically, you start to trust your body again, and that trust can slowly lead to more comfort, more curiosity, and yes, more desire. And we can't talk about reigniting passion without addressing one more quiet but powerful element: touch. Not necessarily sexual touch, just touch in general. You'd be surprised how many people go days or even weeks without meaningful physical contact. A hug, a hand on the shoulder, a warm squeeze of the hand. These moments matter. They release oxytocin, the love hormone, which can reduce stress and increase feelings of connection. So if you're in a relationship, think about small ways to bring touch back into the everyday. A gentle back rub, a kiss on the forehead, holding hands while watching TV. And if you're single, don't underestimate the power of self-care through touch. Whether it's a warm bath, self-massage, or simply running your hands over your arms and saying, "I am still here, I still matter." Those actions send powerful signals to your brain and your heart. Desire isn't always a wild flame. Sometimes it's a gentle spark waiting to be noticed, waiting for you to slow down, tune in, and give it the space it needs to grow again. If it's been a while since you felt that spark, whether with a partner or within yourself, I want you to know it's not gone. It's still there. It might be buried under routine, stress, aging, or self-doubt, but it's there. And the more you nurture it with kindness, honesty, and care, the more it will start to return, not as a version of your younger self, but as the truest, most confident version of you today. Let's keep going, because there's one more powerful element that brings everything together, something that can help you reclaim your passion, redefine pleasure on your own terms, and fully embrace the beauty of intimacy after 60. If there's one thing that ties everything together, your hormones, your stress, your communication, your body, it's permission. Giving yourself permission to feel again, to want again, to explore again. For so many people after 60, the biggest block to desire isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the internal voice that whispers, "I shouldn't want this anymore," or "this part of my life is behind me." But that's simply not true. You're still a whole, vibrant, complex human being with needs, feelings, and a heart that still beats with longing. And just because the world doesn't always talk about that part of life doesn't mean you should silence it inside yourself. You have permission to explore what pleasure means to you now. That might not look the way it did in your 20s, and it shouldn't have to. It might mean discovering new ways of being close, emotionally, physically, spiritually. It might mean redefining intimacy as something slow and sacred rather than fast and expected. It might mean taking more time, asking for what you need, or simply letting go of pressure and rediscovering connection. Because here's something important. Desire doesn't thrive in pressure, it thrives in presence. And presence is something you've earned. You've lived enough life to know that rushing, forcing, or pretending doesn't work. But choosing, deliberately, gently, to connect with yourself or with someone you love, that's where the magic begins. So whether you're trying to bring intimacy back into a relationship or simply rekindle that spark inside yourself, let it start with curiosity. Ask yourself, what makes me feel alive? What helps me feel connected? What kinds of touch, conversation, or quiet moments bring me back to my body? It might be movement, a slow dance in the living room with soft lighting and your favorite song. It might be scent, a bit of essential oil, or a favorite lotion that reminds you to be in your skin. It might be journaling, a chance to write down what you miss, what you long for, or even what you've never dared to try. It might be a walk in nature where the air is cool and you feel, for a moment, completely alive in your own skin. You don't have to have all the answers, and you don't need to get it right. All you have to do is begin again, not with shame, not with fear, but with compassion. Start small, start wherever you are. And if there's a partner in your life, invite them into the conversation, not with demands, but with tenderness. I've been thinking about us. I miss feeling close. Can we talk about what that looks like now? That single sentence can open doors. And if there isn't a partner, then the invitation is to yourself, to explore who you are now, to celebrate the desire that still lives in you, even if it's been quiet. Maybe that means reading books that stir your imagination. Maybe it means trying something new on your own terms. Whatever it is, Give yourself space to feel again. There is no age limit on connection, on passion, or on pleasure. None. There's also no shame in seeking extra support. If medical concerns or dryness or discomfort have been part of the challenge, talk to a provider who takes your concerns seriously. There are solutions, natural and medical alike, that can make a real difference. But it starts with knowing that your well-being matters, that this part of your life matters. You are not invisible. You are not dried up. You are not done. You are evolving. And within that evolution lies a deeper, richer opportunity to know yourself better, to reconnect with what moves you, and to embrace love, intimacy, and joy in a way that's more meaningful than ever before. So if you've felt disconnected lately or wondered if something was wrong with you, let today be the day you start coming back home to yourself. Gently, slowly, with grace. Because your desire isn't gone, it's waiting for your attention, your intention, and your trust. If this video has resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Has your experience with desire changed over the years? What has helped you feel more connected, more present, or more alive? You never know who your story might help. And if you found this message helpful, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more warm, honest conversations about aging with strength, confidence, and joy. Also, I've linked a few of my favorite wellness tools and resources in the description below. They're gentle, nourishing, and designed to help you reconnect with your body and yourself in the most supportive ways. Just tap a link to explore what feels right for you. Thank you for being here today, for sharing this space, and for caring for yourself in such a thoughtful way. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. And your story, your spark, is far from over. Here's to reigniting your joy, your confidence, and your connection at any age. I'll see you in the next video. Just click the one on your screen now, and let's keep this journey going together.